My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 38 now. 3 months ago, I was the guy nobody noticed. The one in the faded gray uniform pushing a yellow mop bucket through hospital hallways at 2 in the morning. Blood still wet on my sleeve from a stupid accident with a broken light bulb. 16 stitches later, I'm sitting on that crinkly paper bed in the ER, expecting them to tell me I'm low on iron or maybe need a tetanus shot. Instead, the doctor walks back in, face pale as the walls that he doesn't speak. Just stares like he's seeing something impossible. Then 3 more white coats pile into the tiny room. They don't look at me with sympathy. They look at me like I just stepped out of a history book nobody knew existed. That night changed everything. But first, let me take you back. 10 years earlier, I had a different life. I was a structural engineer. Solid firm downtown Philadelphia. Designing bridges, hospitals, tall buildings meant to stand for generations. That I earned good money. Had a nice house in the suburbs. A plan. A wife named Lauren who I believed wanted the same future I did. We met in college. She was sharp, driven, always talking about the next level. I liked that fire. I wanted to build something lasting. For both of us, we married young. Small ceremony. My mom cried through the whole thing. My dad shook my hand and said he was proud. That was the last time everything felt completely right. Then things shifted, slowly at first. Lauren started chasing bigger circles, luxury real estate, private events, people with private jets and houses in places I'd only seen in magazines. She came home later, talked about money constantly, about the life she deserved. I told myself it was just ambition. I trusted her completely. I was wrong. One afternoon, I came home early with a migraine. House quiet. Her car in the driveway. I heard her laugh, that soft laugh I used to think was only for me. She was on the phone. He has no clue. Too busy with his blueprints and deadlines. I could leave tomorrow, and he wouldn't notice till dinner got cold. I pushed the door open. She froze. 2 seconds of real panic. Then she recovered like it was nothing. His name was Marcus Langford. Tech money. Yachts. Private islands. 8 months, she said. Casual as telling me she changed her hair appointment. Why? I managed. Because he is everything, Ethan. Trips to Europe. Doors that open for him. You take me to chain restaurants and talk about load-bearing walls. She didn't yell. Didn't cry. Just stated facts like she was returning shoes that didn't fit. She wanted out. Lawyer already on speed dial. The next months were brutal. She took the house. Half my retirement. Pushed for support because her career suffered supporting me. The irony burned. Then the real hit landed. My boss called me in. Gray hair, cold eyes. We're restructuring. Your position is gone. 15 years, flawless reviews. Projects finished early, didn't matter. Later I learned Marcus had investments tied to the firm. Played golf with the owner every Sunday. Made calls, whispered, decided ruining my marriage wasn't enough. He wanted my career gone too. Applications went nowhere. Interviews canceled. Position filled. Polite rejections. A friend finally told me the truth over beers. He's blackballing you, man. Telling everyone you're unreliable. Difficult. Nobody will touch you. 6 months later, I was in a tiny apartment with bars on the windows, sirens every night. Sold my watch. Sold my tools. Savings gone. Only job I could get? Night janitor at Philadelphia General. The same hospital my mom worked at for 30 years as a nurse. Minimum wage. I pushed that bucket through halls where doctors used to shake my hand. Now they looked through me. The shame was heavy, but I kept showing up. Because stopping meant losing the last piece of myself. Then came the night with the light. Bulb. Glass shattered in my palm. Blood everywhere. Nurse found me slumped against the wall. Next thing I know, I'm the patient. Stitches. Tests. I figured they'd tell me I needed iron pills. Instead, Dr. Hayes walked back and looking like he'd seen a ghost. 3 specialists followed. They pulled chairs close. The head of genetics leaned in. Mr. Cole, was your father adopted? Yeah, I said. As a baby. 1953. Never knew his birth parents. Never cared to look. She nodded slowly. Then she said the words that still don't feel real. According to your DNA, you're the biological grandson of Harrison Caldwell. The name hit like a freight train. Harrison Caldwell. Steel. Railroads. Foundations worth billions. He died 2 months earlier at 9/5. No heirs. Only son killed in a crash decades AG Oda no kids, or so everyone thought. But there was a son, born in secret, given up for adoption to keep the family name clean. That baby was my dad, which made me the last living heir to an estate worth over $10 billion. The room started spinning that my hand throbbed under the bandage. Ears ringing. 3 months earlier, the woman who promised to love me forever sent me a picture from a yacht and told me to enjoy poverty. That night, covered in my own blood, in a janitor uniform, poverty was about to become a word I would never need again. And revenge, that was suddenly very, very easy to afford. The next 6 weeks were a hurricane. Lawyers from the Caldwell Foundation fought hard, not because they doubted the DNA, because they didn't want a janitor to get billions. Media caught fire. Lost Heir found cleaning hospital. Floors reporters outside my apartment. Old friends texting. And then, Lauren got a text. Ethan, this is incredible. We need to talk. I always knew you were special. I blocked it at no replied, no anger. Just nothing. The courts ruled. The will was clear. Any direct biological descendant gets everything that on a gray Thursday in Pittsburgh. I signed the papers, surrounded by suits and notaries. When it was done, the lead attorney looked at me like I'd beaten him at his own game. Welcome to the Caldwell family, Mr. Cole. I didn't feel like I belonged to any family except the one waiting back home. That I walked out into the snow. Phone buzzed. Mom. You okay, honey? It's done. She laughed through tears. Then come home. I made lasagna. And don't you dare buy a fancy car on the way. Some things money can't change. First thing I did, hired private investigators. Not to protect wealth. To quietly build a file. On Marcus Langford. On every call, every golf game, every whisper that cost me 15 years. Marcus wasn't clean. Shady deals, offshore accounts, insider trading that smelled from a mile away. That I didn't go public yet. I waited. Then I made moves. Bought controlling shares in 3 major construction firms that fed my old company. Quietly. One morning, I called my old CEO, Richard Hargrove. This is Ethan Cole. Silence. Yeah. The engineer you let go because Marcus asked nicely. Guess what? I now own 3 of your biggest clients as of today. Those contracts are terminated. I heard him breathing hard. And the SEC is about to receive a very detailed package on Marcus Langford. Thought you'd want to know before the headlines hit. He stammered that I didn't let him finish. Goodbye, Richard. Hope you land softer than I did. Marcus's fund bled out fast. Investors ran. Lawsuits. Federal charges. Yacht listed for sale in weeks. Lauren filed for divorce from him 8 months later. That I heard she moved back to her sister's place upstate. That I never reached out. Silence was the loudest message. But revenge was a short high. The real change came quieter. That I moved Mom into a beautiful little house outside the city. Garden she always wanted. Porch swing. Every Sunday I drove over for dinner. Pot roast. Stories about Dad. She still cried. Sometimes when she looked at me, like she couldn't believe we made it through the dark. That I went back to Philadelphia General. Not as janitor. Not as patient. That I asked donor $50 million for a new wing. Nursing education, trauma care, mental health. Named it the Dorothy Cole Center for Nursing Excellence. The groundbreaking. I spoke. Simple gray suit. No tie. I used to work here. Night shift. Gray uniform. Name tag nobody read. I cleaned floors when nobody was watching. And I was grateful, because it meant I could. Eat. It meant I could keep going. I told them the short version. The cut. The blood test. The name. The billions. But I didn't stop there. This center isn't mine. It's my mother's. And it's yours. Thank you for the hardest jobs that get the least recognition. You matter. Even when nobody sees it. The applause built slow, then loud. Mom hugged me so tight I thought my ribs would break. Dr. Hayes found me later, shook my hand, careful of the scar still pink across my palm. I almost didn't run the full genetic panel that night, he said. Budget cuts. Something just told me to do it anyway. I stared at him. You changed my life because of a gut feeling? He shrugged. Sometimes the smallest decisions are the loudest. We grab lunch sometimes now. Just 2 people who saw the same hallway from different sides. Mom's health faded slowly. Arthritis, shortness of breath that I moved her in with me. Downstairs bedroom, big windows, garden view. Every morning I made her tea. Strong, 2 sugars, splash of milk. We sat on the porch, watched birds. She told me how Dad used to dance with her in the kitchen when a good song came on point. One afternoon, she looked at me and said, "You didn't let the money turn you into someone else. That's the hardest thing when the world hands you a crown." I squeezed her hand. "I'm just trying to be half the man he was." She smiled, soft, tired. "You already are." She passed on a quiet Tuesday in late fall, slipped away in her sleep. Funeral was small, family, old hospital friends. Doctor Hayes in the back, head bowed. We buried her next to Dad. I placed a white rose on her stone. Sat on the grass a long time, just breathing. People kept asking what's next at AS if grief has a deadline. I didn't need big. I went back to engineering, small firm. Community projects, schools, shelters, affordable housing. They didn't care about my last name. They cared I knew how to read a blueprint and do math in my head. I show up at 7 with coffee for the crew, walk sites in steel-toed boots, smell fresh, concrete and sawdust. Most days nobody calls me Mr. Caldwell. They call me Ethan. Or the guy who actually listens. That feels better than any boardroom ever could. Point one evening, a year after Mom left, I was on the porch alone. Same swing, same crickets. Phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Ethan, it's Lauren. I saw a picture of you at the hospital opening. You looked happy, really happy. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you're okay." I stared at the screen, then typed 3 words. "I am okay." Hit send. Block the number. Not anger, not spite. Just, chapter closed. I stood up, walked inside, locked the door. The house was quiet, but it wasn't empty. It was full of memories, scars, lessons, love that outlasted betrayal. I still have the scar on my palm. Faded white line. Catches the light sometimes. Every time I see it. I don't think of billions first. I think of the man who cut his hand on a light bulb because he showed up anyway. The man who kept mopping floors when the world said he was nothing. The man who refused to disappear. That man saved me. Not the inheritance. Not the revenge. Not the headlines. Just stubborn, quiet, ordinary endurance. If there's one thing I want you to carry from this story, it's this. Your lowest moment isn't your last moment. Your worst day doesn't get the final say. Sometimes the breakthrough comes wrapped in stitches, blood, and a janitor uniform. Sometimes it comes so quietly you almost miss it, but it comes that as long as you keep showing up, as long as you keep choosing to stay in the fight, even when you're invisible, even when it hurts, even when you're tired to your bones, because the story isn't over until you decide it's over. And I decided a long time ago. Mine is just getting started. If this story touched you, if it reminded you that rock bottom is just a floor to push off from, share it with someone who needs to hear it tonight. Thank you for staying until the end. It means more than you know.